Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? First things first, I want to say congratulations to Brandon Rios for ending his losing streak. And congratulations to Mike Alvarado for making history in the sport of boxing. I'll explain that later on. So Brandon Rios gets a third round TKO over Mike Alvarado. He closes this chapter, this Mike Alvarado chapter, and he wins 2 out of 3. Okay? Now there's good news and there's bad news that you're going to hear when it comes to this video. And I don't blame any of the bad news on Brandon Rios. Let's just put it this way. The good news is all for Brandon Rios, which is it's good that Brandon Rios, he was able to once again break his losing streak. He had his best performance, regardless if it was more of Alvarado looking bad than Brandon Rios looking good. Regardless, you know, how you want to put it, this was Brandon Rios' best performance. And with this performance, this guarantees that Brandon Rios will get another big payday. He'll get another big date on HBO. So this is all good news for Brandon Rios, right? Now, the bad news is, and this is just my own personal opinion, okay? I'm not going to try to speak for everyone else. But the bad news, in my opinion, is this fight was a complete waste of time. It was a complete waste of time. I mean, no doubt about it, this benefited Brandon Rios, but it did not benefit the fans as far as I'm concerned. Matter of fact, I remember last week I was at the gym. You know, my son's training and everything, and a lot of the people at the gym, they already know that I talk boxing, so they're always asking me questions. What do you think about this fight? What do you think about that fight? Well, one of the kids, he said, Dante, what do you think about the Brandon Rios versus Alvarado fight? And I told this kid straight up, I said, fights like this, they just don't move me. You know, I mean, sometimes you have fights that's coming on Saturday, like the Deontay Wilder versus Bermane Stiverne fight. These were fights that I was counting the days down, right? These are fights that I could not wait to watch because of the level of competition. But when it comes to Brandon Rios versus Mike Alvarado, I told this kid, it's like watching 2 football teams with the worst records in the league going against each other, as opposed to watching 2 of the best football teams in the playoffs or the Super Bowl, right? This is what I told this kid. And this is exactly how I seen this fight. Now understand this real quick, okay? If this was Brandon Rios versus Tim Bradley, if this was Brandon Rios versus Provodnikov, Terrence Crawford, or someone like that, then I would be counting the days down till Saturday. I mean, I personally feel this card was a waste of time. In fact, I had forgot that this fight was even coming on this weekend. That's one of the reasons, or that's the main reason why I'm making this video so late, because I've just been chilling today at the house, all right? And I was looking through my DVR, and I see boxing, and what's so crazy is the first time I seen Rios versus Alvarado, I thought that was actually a replay of the old fights. And then it dawned on me, oh man, today's Saturday. This is the new fight, right? So I went ahead and I ended up watching it very late, okay? Like I said, man, fights like this don't move me because of the level of competition. You have 2 fighters that are on a losing streak that are fighting against each other in a main event. Now listen, obviously I'm not a psychic, right? But if I would have told you guys last year, in 2014, if I would have said, guess what, guys? In 2015, Al Heyman is going to be putting on bigger, better, more meaningful cards on free TV than Bob Arum is putting on HBO. If I would have told you something like that, you guys would have said, Dante, you losing your goddamn mind. Get the hell out of here with all that damn crazy talk. Right? That's what you would have said. But guess what? That is exactly what's happening right now. Keith Thurman versus Robert the Ghost Guerrero is on NBC. Okay? Danny Garcia versus Lamont Peterson is going to be on regular TV, NBC. Sean Porter versus the hard-punching Roberto Garcia is going to be on Spike TV. Mike Alvarado versus Brandon Rios, two fighters on a losing streak, fighting in the main event on HBO. And listen, I understand that Mike Alvarado, or Brandon Rios, I should say, he had a DQ win over Diego Chavez, but I don't count that as a win. I'm talking about a real win. It's been a long time since both of these fighters got a real win, and they are in the main event on HBO. This fight should have been on a pay-per-view undercard. This should have been the opening fight, or maybe the co-main event, if you want to be real generous. Okay? I mean, if you're watching the Olympics, track and field, the 100-yard dash, world's fastest man, right? Do you really care if the guy who finishes in 7th place beats the guy that was in 8th place? You don't care about the guys at the bottom, right? Your main concern and attention is going to be on who finishes first, right? And maybe the runner-ups, 2nd place, 3rd place. But you're not really too concerned about 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, right? And that's how I seen this fight. I looked at it as Brandon Rios, 5th or 6th place, basically beating Alvarado, who's in 8th place. But once again, you can't blame this on Brandon Rios. Brandon Rios, he's making his money. You know, he's taking care of his family. He just got a nice check. And once again, this guarantees that he gets another big check. That's good. And Brandon Rios is already talking about fighting against Provodnikov next. You know, that is the type of fight I believe is a very entertaining, exciting fight to watch. I mean, I don't care how exciting and entertaining the fight is if you're fighting just to get 7th or 6th place, right? Now, if you're fighting to get 3rd or 2nd place or 1st place, that's a big damn difference. So once again, congratulations to Brandon Rios for closing this chapter in his career, beating Mike Alvarado 2 out of 3. He secures another big fight on HBO in the near future, most likely. So that's pretty much all I got. I'll go ahead and make an additional video about Mike Alvarado making history this Saturday in this loss to Brandon Rios. That's all I got. I'm on to the next one.